Riley and Tambling show anything necessary to show you that they could be in your best 22?
Yeah, really liked Riley. Thought he played his role really well, and he's one of those. He's not a pretty footballer, but he certainly wins clearances and he's aggressive, and they're the sort of players that we like. Tambling was the sub for Paul Pleasure, so didn't get much opportunity. I think he only played in the end about 30 or just over 30% of the game time, but. Yeah, when he came on, he gave us a bit of speed and gave us a bit of drive off half back. So it's good to have players in form, and it's good to have depth, particularly this time of the season.
There was one commentator who said that he shouldn't have even been included. Someone like Luke Brown should have been in your side because he's more a part of your side going forward.
Oh yeah, yes and no. I mean, Luke Brown's certainly the future for us. He's only 18 and he's got a bright future. But Richard Tambling's played 100 AFL games, so he's certainly got some experience as well, and he hasn't played much for us this year, but his form at SANFL level has been fantastic, and we know we can trust him when we bring him in. So he'll be certainly a player that we want to play more with only 4 games to go. But he's certainly a player that we really like having in our 22, and he's been on the cusp for a lot of the season. But yeah, it's good to see him get a go last week.
Any injury doubts at all this week?
There is every week. There's always, not many guys are 110% this time of the season, but there's always a few little niggles that we just want to make sure that we get right. But I think, it's one of those weeks where we might get a few back rather than lose a few, which is good.
Made of your so-called easy draw, particularly heading into finals. But Essendon last week with season on the line, Freo this week. Again, they're not the worst hit outs now, are they?
Freo's tough. They've only lost twice since we played them last time. They're in really good form. If you look at their form line, they're playing some good footy. You know, their defence really is the trademark of their team, and they're really difficult to score against. So we'll have to be at our best to beat them again this week.
Do you worry about trying to play your own game? Because obviously they have a very controlling defensive type game under Ross Lyon. Is it hard to play your own game against them?
Yeah, it is. They really frustrate you. They're the number 2 tackling side in the competition, so they put a lot of pressure on the ball. They just don't let you get a free-flowing game. They make it quite ugly, which is fine. We've just got to adopt different ways to try and combat that. But at the same time, they'll be worried about some of the things that we do well. You know, we can score quickly, which we showed on the weekend, and our defence has been pretty good this year too. You know, I think we're ranked 5 in the competition for points against. So it'll be a great contest. You know, it's going to be a good game on Saturday because they're hungry. They're one of those sides that's looking to break into the 8 and stay in there. So we'll certainly have our work cut out.
Do you think differently than you did last time?
A few things have changed for them. They're playing more like I guess Ross wants them to play now. Where last time we played them was a great game. I mean, Rory Sloane kicked 3 goals and had 30 plus possessions and was fantastic. But we had a good team effort last time we played them, and I think that's really important against the better sides. You've got to have an even contribution from your whole squad.
Just with Ross Lyon's teams, what is it about the way he sets up and the way they go about it that sort of it's so hard to play on your terms rather than Freo's terms in this case?
Yeah, I think they're just so well structured defensively. They really frustrate you. You just can't get a free-flowing open game. So they just force you into making mistakes that you wouldn't typically make, it seems. So you're just trying to force the ball to areas where you don't want to kick it. But we've just got to be patient. We've got to ensure that we're not taking unnecessary risks. But at the same time, we've got to take the game on. We've got to move the ball forward against them.
How do you stop the Pat? He's the floor player of the competition.
Yeah, he'll be tough. He's red hot. We're watching some stuff on him today, and he's spending less time in the midfield now. He's electric up forward. So we've got some good defenders though. You know, Talia, Rutten, Sam Shaw. They'll all probably get a look at him.
Does one of them get the job straight up, or you got to mix and match throughout the day? Who gets the job to start with?
Oh, I think all 3 of them can probably have their turn. We'll try and find the right matchup on the day, but I think we've got 3 defenders who are in pretty good form who can certainly play that role.
What would you consider? You say all 3 will get their turn. Is it the best way to beat him? Mix and match on him a fair bit.
Yeah, unless we get a matchup that seems to be working better than the others. But footy's changed a little bit. You can't just sort of stay on one opponent for the whole game. It's just the way that we defend and other teams defend and attack as well. You sometimes get caught up on different matchups, but we're confident that those 3 guys can get the job done at different times in the game. But if we get a feel that we like one of them, we'll certainly stick with that.
Is he your biggest threat though this week, really, given the fact that he's been sparking him so well?
Oh yeah, Pavlich, Fife, Hill. They've got some quality in their side. Barlow, Money. They've got great depth through their midfield, and maybe the first time we played them earlier in the season, they probably relied on too few in their midfield, but now they've just got great depth through there, and I think we'll certainly have to be at our best to beat them on the weekend.
When you said you watched the video of him this morning, is that just a defensive group or the whole squad?
No, the whole team, yeah. We looked at, every week we do that. We look at the opposition, the way they attack, the way they defend, what they do at stoppages. So that takes up about 25% of our week, is looking at the opposition strengths.
I imagine you wouldn't be feeling sorry for Port Adelaide, but do we need a strong Port Adelaide for football in this state?
As a Crows person, no, but yeah, as a South Australian football person, obviously we do. Yeah, it'd be great for SA footy if we had two strong AFL sides, and I shouldn't say that as a Crows person, but I wish them in the best in the future. I'm sure they're going to go through the process and pick a new coach, and hopefully they're back up where they should be sooner rather than later.
Do you feel sorry for Matty Primus, how it all went down?
Oh, of course, he's actually a friend of mine as well. So, not just someone I've coached against. I know him pretty well, and it's just this industry. It's ruthless. My turn will come one day, and you'll be asking the other coach, how do you feel about me losing my job? But Matty will be fine. He'll get on with what he's going to do, and hopefully he stays in footy, because I think he's a great football person, and I'm sure he's going to be fine.
Could be a chance there's a first-year coach that will coach there. You got any advice for first-year coaches?
Oh no, it's hard work. It's certainly pretty tough, but I've been really fortunate. I've got a great support around me. My coaches this year have just been brilliant. Dean Bailey, Mark Bickley, Scott Camporelli, Darren Milburn, Matty Clark. They've just been so helpful to me throughout the whole season. And they've been able to, help with the workload, and so many decisions get made every week. But to have a good support around you is certainly critical.
How did you know that you were ready?
You never know, I guess. Yeah, I guess probably 5 years as an assistant, probably you feel like you know the game well enough, and you know the ins and outs of what you're going to be prepared for. But nothing really does prepare you for getting in the hot seat. It's a pretty tough job.
So despite that, when you started first few months and that sort of thing, it's still a bit of a shock actually what the role involved.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you have to. It's not just coaching. There's recruiting, there's the media, there's the commercial side of the footy club as well. There's medical, sports and conditioning. So there's a lot of different hats you have to put on at different times, and you'd love just to coach, but senior coach has lots of different roles which you have to be prepared to do.
How important is having a senior mentor like Lee Barney alongside you?
Yeah, Bales has been great for me. I must admit, he's made my job a lot easier at times, and he's the perfect offsider for me. Sometimes when I'm really positive, he's telling me what can go wrong, and sometimes when I'm really negative, he's looking at sort of the bright side. So I think that's what he does really well for me. He just helps me with the balance. He's been through a lot of things, obviously, as a senior coach, so he prepares me for what might be ahead. But it's not just him. Bales has been great for me and the club this year, but it's also Bickley, Milburn, Camporelli. Those guys have been great support to me this year as well.
I think Mark Bickley and Dean Bailey are pretty high up on the betting lines there. Is there any chance they can head down the road? Yeah, they might. Yeah, I mean, if I was Port Adelaide, I'd certainly talk to him. Mark Bickley would be a great senior coach. I really believe that, and I know Bales has done it before, and he'd be fantastic in a senior coaching role again. I know you probably learn more your second time around, but those two guys in particular have just, as I said, have been great for me. But also too, they're just great coaches.
Would Dean be happy to go back into senior coaching? Is that something he's aiming for? Is he happy with that?
I'm not sure. I think he's enjoying working here, and I know we're obviously having a great season, and there's still some pretty important games coming up for us to finish this year off. But I think if I was down at Port Adelaide, I'd be looking to speak to some of our guys.
Why would Bix be a great coach? Obviously had a caretaker's role here last year. What are his qualities in the role?
Well, he sees the game so well. Obviously, he's seen it from every side. Captain of a premiership side, sees the game really well. You look at our attack this year, I think we're ranked number 2 in the competition for our attack. His relationship with players is fantastic. What he's done this year with Tippett and Walker and Paul Pleasure and those guys has just been fantastic, and just knows the game, just sees the game well. I think he'd be a great senior coach.
You'd hate to lose either one of those, though, surely.
Oh, I would, yeah. I mean, I love what they're doing for us here, and we've got a great little team here at the Adelaide Footy Club, but at the same time, yeah, you'd love to see them go on and become senior coaches.
How important to finish obviously tight at the top again? Now, Collingwood suspended Dave Swan for a couple of weeks, which makes your life probably a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But how important is it to get top two to get a couple of home finals, especially when the year is so close?
It's not the be-all and end-all, but it is important that you finish the year off well and in good form. It's great to finish in the top four because, as we know, you finish in the top four and you win the first week, you get a home final. So top four is where you want to try and finish, obviously. But if you finish fifth, you can still win the premiership. So it's not the be-all and end-all, but it's obviously what we're all striving for.
Is it more about the way you get the finals from what you're saying?
Oh, it is, yeah, for sure. You can't flirt with your form this time of year. As much as we want to manage players and we want to sort of tiptoe into a finals campaign, you have to be in form and you have to be fit. So that's what's important for us over the next 4 weeks.
With that in mind, given that you're saying no one's going to push Kurt back into the side, if it's getting closer and closer to the finals time, how important is it to just get him in there as quick as possible? Yeah,
well, it is, because you'd like your best 22, just with the chemistry and structures and stuff, you'd like to have your best 22 sort of starting to get rolling now, and in an ideal world that's what you would plan for, but it doesn't always end up like that. So, you know, we had Aidan Riley and Richard Tambling play their first game for us for the year last week, so we might get another 1 or 2 players debut in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, who knows, but ideally come around sort of 21, 22, 23, you'd love to get your best 22 starting to roll.
And round 23, you've been given the Saturday Arvo game against Gold Coast. Happy with that? With a look to finals, probably?
Yeah, I think the AFL look to not reward, but they look to give the sides who finish in the top 2 or 3 or 4 the best preparation they can for the first week of the final. So that's just common sense, I think, through the AFL have done that, which is good.